Hey guys, Marshall here from Limited Resources, and well, I'm hooked on it. What can I say? Absolutely love me some Rise of the Eldrazi. So let's take a look at our opening pack. Now, you guys know me. I want to take Vent Sentinels, but it's okay. I want to try something different. If we get past a bunch, well, I am what I am, and I'm going to take them. But until then, I'd like to do blue-white levelers. I'm going to show you guys that deck if possible. And we got really lucky. We opened one of the better ones up here. The old coulda had a Spy Patrol. We also have an Eldrazi Temple, which can be pretty sweet. Spend this mana only to cast colorless Eldrazi spells or activate abilities of colorless Eldrazi. So they made sure that there was no shenanigans. It doesn't break limited or anything like that. Other good cards in the pack? Well, there's not really that many. Aura Gnarlid, Regress, Seagate Oracle, but I'm going to take a Spy Patrol because I think it's the best one. Let's see what we get next. Well, this pack isn't great either. Thought Gorger's kind of weird. 2/2 trample for 4, but when it enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 on counter for each card in your hand and discard your hand. And then when it leaves the battlefield, so if it dies or if it gets bounced or whatever, you draw a card for each counter on it. So basically, you kind of move all in. You make, say, a 6/6 trample for 4 mana and start beating down. If they kill it, you get your cards back. Downside to a card like this, though, is, well, there is some removal like Narcolepsy in the format that will just neutralize it and you just discard your hand and you get like 7 for 1. So the risk just isn't really quite worth it. What else do we have, though? Well, there's really not much else here, to be honest. This is just a junker of a pack. There's a Boar Umbra, which can be decent in a deck like this. And there's a Deprive. I guess I'll just take a Boar Umbra because Deprive isn't great either, so yeah, we'll just have to see where it goes. Alright, well, there's a third pick, Overgrown Battlement, which is a card that you guys know I love to death, and I'm probably just going to end up taking here. Ondu Giant's pretty good too, and Gargomazoa is okay, but Gargomazoa with Hada Spy Patrol is like not amazing. You kind of, you want to go one direction or the other here. And I think I'm just going to take the best card in the pack in my mind, which is Overgrown Battlement. Corpse Hatch is fine. Get to blow up a creature, but this format isn't quite the same like Theros, where you're just happy to play a Sip of Hemlock or something. This Corpse Hatch actually is just okay in the format. Guard Duty's okay too, but we'll take a Battlement, follow up our green. It looks like the blue white isn't exactly flowing here, so we might need to make some adjustments. And yeah, fourth pick Heat Ray, and it looks like we might be drifting right back over to green-red here, but it really is just the best card in the pack. There's a couple of other serviceable cards. Frostwind Invoker, Heart Beast is okay, Ichral Outrider. I talked about it last week. This level up number is really the most important thing, and 4 is about as high as it gets, so it makes the card not very good. This card's totally fine, but again, just unexciting. Heat Ray's good. Like, Heat Ray kills stuff. Heat Ray is, something that you don't get that often in this format, so definitely going to take it. I like Soulbound Guardians a lot. It actually stops a lot of the early to mid game stuff from attacking or doing anything. Otherwise, we're taking like an Arsonist. Shield Bearers is fine. These packs have been really quite weak. All right, here's a Crusher. And there's a Knight of Cliffhaven. So it looks like white is reasonably open here. We could be green-white splash red. We can be green-red splash white. We could also just take the Crusher here. I like the Knight, though. The Knight's pretty sweet. But Crusher is very, very good. And we've got one ramp spell, and we look to be in green, though we don't really have that much green here anyway. This is actually a tough pick. Yeah, I'll just go with the Knight. We'll see where that takes us. All right, well, here's a Guard Duty if we want to stay in white, which I think we do. Not much else anyway. Oops. And nothing. I mean, I guess we don't really expect too much out of this late pick, but this is pretty bad. Not to be confused with Battle Rampart. I'll just take something. Sure, a Demystify, whatever. All right, well, here's a Heart Beast. I'm going to take that. Looks like white's doing pretty well. Again, we have a Boar Umbra already. We could potentially grab with our Totem Guide Heartbeast. Yeah, so we're going to actually see where we end up. I really wish we could just be in blue-white. The battlement might have been a bit of a false signal there, as we haven't really seen a ton after that. Glory Seeker sucks. Eland Umbra is also just like one of the worst of these. It doesn't pump power, and that's really a big consideration. You really want it to give some type of evasion or pump the power or something, so I'm going to take a Silt Lurker. Yeah, that's all flavor text right there, kids. Nothing else. Also, a rare Elmer sighting there in Eldrazi land. Another Guard Duty? Sure. I kind of like Guard Duty. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, the blue wasn't exactly there in that pack. The white seemed a little bit there, but still not really amazing. All right, well, we got the Shield Bearers back, but they're not going to do a ton. We don't have any Vent Sentinels or anything to go along. So, really still don't know where we're at here. Packs have been disappointing, I would say. Hard to feel like any color combination really had much going for it. I mean, we didn't see any Nest Invaders, any of that kind of stuff. All right, this pack's much better. There's a Colony Hydra first, which is interesting. 8/8 trample for 1,000,000 green, for 8 green. And for every green mana symbol you have on creatures, for each green creature you have, it costs less. So it can be pretty good. And there's also a Crusher, a Dreamstone Hedron, a Nest Invader, which I mentioned, an actual Battle Rampart, but we're not taking that. So there's really not actually a ton here still. We could go for just something big, or we could go for a Nest Invader here and kind of veer back over into green. I guess I'll take that. I'll take a Nest Invader here. Kind of see where we end up. Ooh. This pack's nice. There's an Emrakul's Hatcher and a Palaka Worm. But I like Palaka Worm a ton, and I think I am going to move over into green here if I can. It feels a little bit like it's moving that direction. Maybe not. Now it just sort of gets bricked off, but I'm going to take an Ulamog's Crusher here. So things are starting to peek around the corner a little bit for us here. Mammoth Umbra is quite good. I think I'm going to take that here over like a 1,000,000th Guard Duty. Remember that Heartbeast can also search up Guard Duties, which is really nice. Just, sometimes you need it. And that's where Ulamog's Crusher gets really nice late in the game. You can kind of lock down their small stuff with Guard Duties. You can just throw them on there, and then you can attack with Crusher, and a lot of times they don't have enough power to even block it profitably, so they have to just start sacking those guys, and then it goes downhill from there. But I'm going to take this Mammoth Umbra. We'll try to kind of go off. It looks like we're going to be green-white. I'm going to have to cut Spy Patrol, but we can splash this Heat Ray probably. And let's see where this thing takes us. More of these would be absolutely fantastic for our deck. Just great. The more of these, the better. Especially because, that means that we can play like Soulbound Guardians and get a little extra value out of them down the road. That kind of thing. All right, so a second Heat Ray or a second Soulbound Guardians, or we could just sort of keep the splash going, but I think that we just want another Heat Ray here. Like, I like Soulbound Guardians, but they're 5 drops, and we don't really need any more of those. Now, if we had I can't remember what the equipment's called now, but you guys know the equipment, the Chariot, the Warmonger's Chariot, that lets creatures with Defender attack. And I don't know if you've ever suited one of those up to one of these bad boys, but yeah, it becomes like a 6/7 flying attacker, and you can close out the game very, very quickly. But we don't have one of those right now, so we got to kind of lean back in the other direction. All right, still not a lot going on here. I'm going to take a random naturalize here and for the sideboard, but we need to fill out this early part. We want any more of these and these that we can get, any Kozilek's Predators or anything like that to fill out our 4s. We have 0 4-drops at the moment. We've got a lot of work to do. I'm going to take this Dreamstone Hedron here. I could take the Core Lineslinger, but I actually like the Hedron quite a bit. It really does let you power out some pretty impressive stuff. Infinite guard duties abound here. Black seems to be mildly open. These cards are both playable. Could just take a hand of Emrakul, but man, I'd so much rather just have a second Crusher at some point. We've passed a few of them though, so that might not be possible, but we'll see. Shield Bearers probably doesn't make the cut unless we pick up more of these. Ideally, we'd pick up some Wall of Omens. Those are great in this type of strategy. We're obviously we're trying to go big here. All right, so there's Battle Rampart. Again, reasonable card in our deck, or just a Survival Cache. I'm going to take Survival Cache. This format's pretty slow. If we go like 2-drop into Survival Cache, most of the time we're going to get our value out of it. Also, we can board it in or out depending on our matchup. If our opponent's particularly aggressive, I usually board it out. Yeah, the 2 life gain and then the extra 2 life gain are okay, but you really need to be getting cards. Like at least 1 card back out of the thing to make it worth it. If you feel like you can get at least 1 card out of it, it's good. If you can get both cards, then it's just quite good. I mean, you pay 3 mana, you gain 4 life and draw 2 cards. Like that's really good, so. All right, well, we can play a Pathrazor. It's ridiculously huge, but also 11 mana is just stupid expensive. Otherwise, we would take like a Mnemonic Wall. I'll just take a Mnemonic Wall here and hide it. It has a better chance of making the cut than anything. I'll take this guy. He could be a problem. All right, well, we picked up another Soulbound Guardians, but man, these Battle Ramparts are just sort of flowing freely here. I'll take the Guardians, though. Okay, so this last pack has to be kind to us to really make this thing a deck, though we'll have some playables. I mean, it's just, look at our curve is very weird. We really need to fill out these 4s, ideally with some Kozilek's Predators or, some green ramp spells, basically. All right, well, there's an Overgrown Battlement and an Ondu Giant, so we know this pack is going to be okay. Let's see what else we have, though. There's Recurring Insight. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in target opponent's hand. Rebound. The card can be absolutely insane, but it also can do almost nothing. It can be like draw 1, rebound, draw 2, or something. Like it's not that great for the 6 mana, so we're not going to be taking that. We're going to be taking this Battlement here, but there are other good cards in this pack that we might be able to get back. I mean, ideally we get Ondu Giant back, but that's kind of a dream that we're not really going to realistically get. But we could get Reinforced Bulwark and kind of go into full defense mode, I think, pretty easily. Outrider, I mentioned it before, not that great. Time of Heroes isn't going to go into this deck. But yeah, Battlement, easy pick. All right, here's a Deathless Angel. And there's also a Kozilek's Predator. There's our first Vent Sentinel scene, by the way, but we're going to take this. Deathless Angel is really good. Check out what it does. 5/7 flying for 6 mana, which is already quite nice, and then you can give target creature indestructible until end of turn for white, including itself if you want. I really want that Predator, but I'm not going to pass the 6 mana. It's a bomb. It's just a bomb in the format. Okay, now we're talking business, kids. Here's what we wanted. Overgrown Battlement number 3, and now all of a sudden these Stalwart Shield Bearers look a lot better. These are O5s, which are better, and things just start to really explode mana-wise, so that's nice. Here's a Warmonger's Chariot that we wanted, and I think I am going to go ahead and pick it up here. There's a few other cards that I could consider, but we've got plenty of fodder for our Totem Guide Heartbeast, so Spider Umbra gets a lot worse. really, I think that Warmonger's Chariot is great in our deck. If you see what it does, +2/+2, and it can attack, creatures can attack as if they didn't have Defender. So, you know, it makes this guy like a 2/5 that can attack, right? And it makes this thing, like I mentioned before, a 6/7 with flying that can attack. And that's just nasty. It really is just really, really nasty. And plus, you can just throw it on like a Nest Invader and make it a 4/4. And as you can see, its equip cost is 3, which is expensive. It's not ideal. Like, the 2 casting cost is quite fine. And if it costs 2 to equip, it would be really, really strong in our deck. Instead, it's just good. And again, though, with these type of cards, it's just the kind of thing that you need to do. All right, what do we have? Okay, so we have some good options. There's an Alpha Guardhound, which is fine, and it would be a 3, and it would be a creature, and it would go into our deck. But it's not great, and the effect is sort of short-lived. There's an Aura Gnarlid, though. And this rewards you for having auras on the battlefield at all. And we have quite a few. Our guard duties are all auras, and those count towards it. Plus, Boar Umbra makes it just basically unblockable. So yeah, we're going to take an Aura Gnarlid. We really wish we had a few more of these, to be honest. But, you know, what are you going to do? All right. So another Shield Bearers or a Spider Umbra. I like Spider Umbra. It does work well with some of our stuff, and it is a card that we could use against a flying deck, like out of the sideboard. It goes well on this guy, of course. But we do have a couple of Soulbound Guardians to help with that plan as well. So it's not super good, and we also have Knight of Cliffhaven. So again, not super, super good there. Another Stalwart Shield Bearers, though, is just sort of overkill at this point. Like 2 is plenty. We might only run 1. So I am just going to take the Spider Umbra. I'm going to hide it for now. Wow. There's our second Vent Sentinel. I got to keep count for some reason. It's a compulsion. But there's our 4th Overgrown Battlement. So that really is what we wanted. The only other thing that we would love here is one more fatty. But you know what? We're pretty good. We've got 3 of these things that are good. And then we've also got this, which is a great place to dump a bunch of mana. You can see once you get up to 9, you can actually just dump all 9 mana into it and draw 3, which is pretty much what you want to do when you have that much mana and nothing else going. So yeah, this, even though we still have literally 0 4-drops, which is a little awkward with all of these, we're still going to be in a really good spot here. Okay, so now it's decision time. A Heart Beast would totally go in our deck great. In fact, we might just want that. A Hand of Emrakul is now quite castable thanks to all of these. It just doesn't really pay you back. 7/7 Annihilator 1 isn't that great. Domestication we're not worried about. They can steal some of our guys. We've got bigger guys. But a Life Strider would be quite nice in our deck too. You can see he comes down and you tap as many creatures as you want and you gain 2 life per. I'm going to take the Hearth Beast here though. I think that it just goes so well in our deck, and I think it's just really what we want to be doing here. All right, so here's the pack that we opened. We have the Bulwark and the McKindy Griffin, so I'm going to take the Griffin here. It's our only 4-drop in the deck, but it's also very good at blocking. It's a 2/4 flying for 4, so it'll just hold off a lot of the small starts that we might be seeing. I'm going to hide Survival Cache for now because I think our defense is pretty good. And we get this choice again. So 3rd Heart Beast or 3rd Guardians or 1st Stomper Cub is also an option, to be honest. It wears these auras nice, but I like these better. And I'm going to take actually another Heart Beast because I think that these are just going to be straight value in our deck. I really do. I think that they're just going to be like every time we cast one, we get to just basically draw a card. And that's pretty nice. All right, so we're at 27. We're going to need to trim this thing down a bit, but I don't think it'll be too hard. Did we find any way to find red for this? No, we did not. Awkward. Yeah, we might just not play those Heat Rays or bring them in matchups where we really think they're good. I think we're just going to have to do without them, though. Because our deck does a ton of stuff without it. We kind of have too many themes going here, and so we're going to need to choose one direction to go. We know one of our themes, which is just straight up ramp. So we're playing all 4 Overgrown Battlement, and we're looking to just power out this, and this. That much makes sense. and it's pretty straightforward. The other thing that we have going on, though, is this aura sub-theme, and that's what we kind of need to figure out. So guard duties, Cliff Clavens, yes. This is going to be in the board. And then I'm going to put all these in for now, but there's no way that they're all going to stay because we have too many good cards here. No, yes, yes, absolutely. No, yep. And then the Palaka Worm, the Dreamstone Hedron, this thing, and this thing. So that puts us at 25. Okay, so not too bad. We only need to trim 1 to 2 cards. The Heat Rays are just going to have to stay in the board. We just don't have any way to reliably get that mana. And we do have a fairly, like, we've got a Palaka Worm in our deck, so we need triple green for that. And, you know, if we had that Ondu Giant, we could be okay, but we don't. So we're going to have to make do here. I'm going to cut 1 Shield Bearers. That much I know. It's good, but the battlements do a lot of the work anyway. And remember, they count each other. So, like, it's a little bit overkill to have too much here, but we do want them. I love our top end. We can definitely cut one of these cards, though, if we want. Like 1 Heart Beast. Let's figure out all the targets we have for Heart Beast. So we have 3 Guard Duties. We have a Boar Umbra, which is a nice one. A Mammoth Umbra. And that's it. So these are the things that we can search up with them. I think we can cut 1. Because we cast these and we can grab pretty much whatever we want. If we want to go on the offense, we have the ability to do that. And if there's something that's really nasty and we just need to lock it down, we can grab that. So I think this is going to be our deck right here. And we're just going to try to power out sweet stuff, basically. All right, so let's add some lands here. This thing says 8-9. I think I want that flopped, though. So here, let's do my patented technique. If you guys watch my videos, you know what's going on here. So what I like to do is move down the non-creature spells. And it lets us look at our fairly awkward creature curve. And then I like to move the cards around into where I estimate that we're going to cast them. So guard duties, never turn 1 play. It's more like a turn 4 and a turn 5 play, so I'll do it roughly like that. Boar Umbra is going to be a turn 6 thing or something. Maybe I'll put it on turn 5. Like, I could see us, you know, playing this and then the next turn playing this and just trying to get them. Warmonger's Chariot, we don't need at any given point. Like, that's a much later game card. These are all turn 2 plays. This is turn 3. This is a 4. Like I said, 4 on these. 5, 5. These are all turn 5 plays. This is a 6, 7, and that's an 8. So this is how our curve actually looks. And what we want to focus on is down here. Once you get up to this end, we've played enough Magic at this point that we can assume that we're going to have the colors to cast this stuff. If we get to casting 7 drops or 6 drops and we don't have even 2 white mana sources, and we've just kind of ran bad and we just have to hope to get a little lucky. But at the beginning part of the game, you often only have access to 3 colors or 3 lands, you know, maybe 3 to 4 lands total. And if one of them doesn't fit the bill, then you can just brick off on a big part of your deck. So what we're going to do is we're going to weight it towards green here. Also, we have a Palaka Worm, but really plan A is to cast Palaka Worm off of Battlement. Battlement makes green, which means that green shouldn't be hard to cast at all. So we don't need to go too hard into green just because we have a triple green spell, but we do need to be heavy green because we've got 4 Battlements and a Nest Invader that we want to cast on turn 2. No, I did not mean to hit that. Adland, that's the one I wanted. Okay, so it says 9-8, but I think that we're going to switch it to 8-9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like that. Okay? So there's our deck. Did we forget anything? Ancient Stirrings is fine. What can we hit with that? This or this? Yeah, no, of course not. Or this. Yeah, that's still not good enough. Heat Rays, sorry, bros. You got to stay on the board. No. And then I'm going to bring this in against a truly aggressive, especially an evasive aggressive deck, because those tend to be a couple turns slower than just an outright aggressive deck, but they also tend to not have a big punch. So you get to gain a 4 life and draw a bunch of cards, and that can put us back ahead. All right, submit. We'll see you guys in the first round.